Tell you why that'll be number 2 after you listen to mine. 3 times a week, I'm going to challenge you to keep up with me as I discuss topics from the latest in technology and music, and people getting dunked on. Also, we get the very best analysis of the games, and we watch them with encyclopedic level historical connection. Plus, we have got a community of guests that you'll feel like are your closest friends in no time. Listen and subscribe to The Right Time with Bomani Jones Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
This is the 2022 NBA Draft on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
At the Barclays Center, it's Alan Hahn, PJ Carlesimo, Corey Alexander. We are 54 picks into the draft, 53 made so far. We got 58 to make, and then we are done. It's been a very busy night. Just updating you on some of the picks that have gone over the last couple of minutes here in the second round. It's a lot quicker than it is in the first round. One of the names that stands out, guys, 49th overall to the Cavs, Isaiah Mobley. So they bring in his brother.
I tell you what, Isaiah Mobley had a heck of a year. I mean, he was a good player when Evan was there, and they made their run. I think they got to the final 8, or I know they were deep in the tournament in Indianapolis. But and Isaiah Mobley was a good player. He was better than a good player this year. He had some year, and again, we talked about the internationals. I think we're up to 9 so far in the second round.
The last one, Karlo Makovic from Serbia. He was taken 52 overall. Is that the Pelicans that took him? Yes.
Yep. And then Matteo Spagnola, second player from Italy, goes to Minnesota. So they keep coming in. Bobby Marks told us this morning. He said 10, it'd be 10. They're at 9 right now.
Yes, with still 5 picks to go.
Bobby's looking pretty good.
Yeah. That's why he's on TV now with a new contract. There's no doubt about that. But resetting the draft at the very top again, the big names that we knew about at the very top of the draft, we expected Paolo Banchero and Chet Holmgren and Jabari Smith Jr. to be 1, 2, and 3. We didn't know it would be that order, though, as Banchero went number 1 overall to the Orlando Magic. Holmgren went, as expected, to the Thunder at number 2, and then Jabari Smith Jr. went to the Rockets at number 3. And when we asked him about that, he said, "I'm where I'm wanted." So that was a bit of a theme also in the first round here with a lot of players, some guys who slid down. A draft that PJ said was big at the top but deep, and we are certainly learning that as we were going through this draft. The Oklahoma City Thunder, they stayed busy in this draft as they were making picks. They had 3 picks in the top 12 as they kept themselves busy. You had the Detroit Pistons, very active, certainly, as well, as they took Jaden Ivey with the 5th pick. The 4th pick was supposed to be that point of, okay, this is where it gets real. And Sacramento, who had taken a lot of calls about the 4th overall pick, several teams interested in moving up, they decided to stay with the pick, and they took Keegan Murray. So the Kings adding him with the 4th pick. So overall right now, five Duke players drafted, 4 in the first round. A lot of things going sort of as expected. Any surprises you've seen so far, Corey?
If I said any surprise, it would have to be the fact that Jaden Hardy went as late as he did, 37. Yes. I think that was a surprise. Pick. I mean, when you're invited to be a part of the green room, and of course we had 24 guys, so I mean, you know, it was bound to be someone.
Exactly.
We knew that coming in, but you know, you're talking about the number 2 rated high school player in the country coming out behind Chet Holmgren last year. And for him to sit and watch all these guys go in front of him, I think that was, you know, something. I know I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting him to go in the 20s. And I know it's something that, you know, he will carry that with him for a very long time.
Yeah, Christian Koloko was a surprise to me. The fact it should have been a
33rd overall to the Raptors.
It should have been a sign. The fact that he wasn't invited into the green room. But to me, it gets back to then why did Christian Koloko come out? Christian Koloko was clearly on the rise and had a very good year. But you can test the waters. Why would you go if you're not going to be a top pick? Koloko was absolutely on the rise. Played his best basketball at the end of the year, late in the season in the Pac-12 tournament and in the NCAA. I'm a little surprised because that's somebody who I think would have been unbelievable for Tommy Lloyd next year, and I got to think, easy to second guess now, would have been a real high pick.
And we can say the same thing about Trevor Keels from Duke. Yeah, I believe if Trevor Keels goes back to Duke and goes through this same experience next year, you're talking about a lottery pick.
Maybe, yeah.
And so the thing is, and again, like I told you, I feel like the Knicks got a steal at 42, getting him, but You think about that.
Will he spend most of the year in the G League?
Yes, he most likely
right?
will. Yeah,
And
most
so-
likely will. And in today's college basketball, you can go back to school and make a lot more money than you would make playing in the G League.
Got your 10th international player from the Congo.
And a good, Yannick Zoza goes to the Washington Wizards. I mean, he's from the Democratic Republic, from Kinshasa, plays in Malaga. I mean, I'll tell you what, he was playing in a pretty good place, Unicaja over there in Spain, in Malaga. But that's number 10, and we're not done yet. International player in the second round.
Right, so far. And yes, we still have 4 picks to go, so we'll finish up the draft. Also, the host team hasn't made a pick, but they made some news today. At least they are in the headlines today. We haven't even touched on that. We certainly will get to that as well. So all that, we have the rest of the draft coming up. And, of course, what's the latest on Kyrie and KD? That is coming up next. You're listening to the NBA Draft on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and it's presented by Boost Mobile.
The Hoop Collective Podcast.
The Nets have appeared to draw a line in the sand with Kyrie. It's appropriate that it's in sand because sand can be smoothed over quickly.
The Hoop Collective Podcast. Listen on the ESPN app or wherever you listen to podcasts.
With the 15th pick, the Milwaukee Bucks select,
You know their name.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Now discover their journey.
Papa always talks about opportunity. What if this is it?
Based on the true story
Give it your all.
of a family who risked everything
I can get you all sent back home.
to rise together.
Show them who we are.
Disney's Rise. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Streaming Friday on Disney Plus.
I'm Pablo Torre,